On the biggest stage in the world, FanDuel's changing the game because sometimes your player gets subbed off and your bet goes with them. Not anymore. With FanDuel's Super Sub, if your player's subbed out, your bet stays in. That's right. If your player leaves the match, your bet continues on with the substitute. So you're still in it until the final whistle. Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
21 plus select states for Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus DCKYWY. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. 888-789-7777. Visit ccpg.org/chat. Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org. Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org. Call 800-327-5050. Massachusetts. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York. Call 877-770-7867. Louisiana.
Visit FanDuel.com. Get started now. Let there be goals this summer on FanDuel.
In the squadron, they called him Bullets, but we call him Greg Kelly. Greg Kelly is on the air
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Sunday, the UFC. I got pretty cool tickets. I'm told it's a VIP. I hope it's a VIP. You know, in Washington, D.C., you got a lot of VIPs. Everybody kind of thinks they're a VIP. So just because you got VIP tickets doesn't mean, you know, you're going to be necessarily ringside. But I better be I hope I'm ringside. I don't know. I'm thrilled to be on White House grounds Sunday night. What time is this thing starting? 8:00. And I know security is going to be really tight. I'm going with my brother. And look at that. They erected a big tent cage arena for UFC. UFC is a very popular sport. Why not? Why not? They looked it up. You know, Teddy Roosevelt was boxing. He brought lions and elephants and all kinds of stuff. If JFK can have orgies in the damn swimming pool, then I think we can have the UFC fight there on Sunday night. Okay? Fair? All right? All right? I think it's totally fair and fine. U.S. will hit Iran very hard tonight. I already said that. Trump warns Iran to sign deal or face more attacks. Okay. Looks like he's running out of patience. Whatever. I don't know. I'm content to let him do his thing. I'm looking at this, though, and I'm looking at the bombs coming down, and it looked pretty intense. And the IRGC, I think, you know, they might have been watching a lot of fake news. The midterm elections are coming. President Trump will have to wait. President Trump, we got them right where we want them. Kaboom! What do you say now? What do you say now? I can't get any analysis out of our friends in Tehran. What happened? We got them right where we want them. Boom! That's it. All of the bad guys. You got to get all of the hardliners out. Right? There are these hardline weirdos who are still hanging around, which may or may not include Ayatollah Khamenei. All right, but forget that. The guys who went nuts last night because your team won, I mean, just, I don't know, man. I don't know. It looks, quite frankly, like the same crowd that was running around during Black Lives Matter, that was running around, you know, anarchists, if you will, right? Any excuse to go out and have a good time by breaking things. Cut 24, if you don't mind. Cut 24.
What's wrong? Oh, that's the bus. Can't believe it's them.
The poor bus. How do they even know it's the right bus? So what they're doing is throwing stuff at the San Antonio Spurs bus as it went up 8th Avenue after the game. Was that the right bus? How do they know? It was white. It was like a CIA bus. You ever see a CIA plane? They tend to be white. All white. Or Capital Airlines. What do you think there, Phil? Did you watch any of this nonsense?
I watched some of the nonsense, yeah.
It was good. I mean, I must admit, it was the kind of game that even I can get into. They're down 20 points, okay, and then it becomes very close. 29 points, I'm told. But I just don't see the rationale in going crazy like they're doing. And you have the other clip of the maniacs, right? So that one, they're going after a bus. This one, they're going after a traffic cone. They're going after traffic cones and throwing them up and breaking them and things like that. It's terrible. So it's terrible. I know I sound like a little nervous Nilly from Scotland or something like that, but I just don't. I don't see it. There's got to be a psychology, a darkness. But if you want to hear darkness, well, I don't want to hear darkness, but I think it has to be confronted, and we have to shine a light on it. Carmelo Anthony supporters, Carmelo Anthony being the man who murdered our friend Austin Metcalf, and they take their fury out on the family, the survivors of Austin Metcalf. 17-year-old boy killed, his dad, his brother, his mother. And listen to what these Carmelo Anthony idiots said to them as they left court after the sentencing. Cut 22, please. Cut 22.
I want you guys to know that I am 6 foot even. My phone is at my head, and the guy in the back is his brother. Carmelo Anthony was 5'9", 5'8", something like that. So you had 2 of those people standing over him. You said 9 o'clock. You said 9 o'clock. Everybody is press. You have freedom of press. It's the First Amendment.
No, you don't, actually. No, you don't. That's not freedom of the press. Look up the First Amendment. Peaceably assemble. Peaceably. You're not allowed to take to the streets.
Let him leave. Let him leave.
The cops in McKinney, Texas did a good job. The NYPD seemed out to lunch last night. Because the mayor is out to lunch. The mayor wants to give him wide berth. Of course, I don't know. And I saw one line of cops, but I saw way too much chaos in the streets. And I think that should be illegal. Oh, wait, it is illegal. More mayhem from last night. Cut 7, if you don't mind. Or the last one. That wasn't a bad word. You guys are so uptight about the bad words. It wasn't a bad word. What?
I think they said the F word.
I didn't hear the F word.
I think they said F Wemby.
No, they didn't say that. They said try harder next time, Wemby.
That's what they might have said that.
Too bad you lost, Wemby. But I don't know if you can actually tell phonetically what they said. Hey, look at Carmelo Anthony now in jail. He looks like a trans. Right? Did you see that? He looks like trans. He's wearing a women's dress and a bald head. He looks like RuPaul or RuPauler. You know that from the Drag Race show? He's in a world. Oh boy, strange place. All right, a couple of other things. I have to go back to Graham the Pig Plattner, the brand new Democrat nominee from Maine. Here is where he's talking about his military service, and he says something very, very deceitful, all right? Deceitful. And the women love it, especially liberal women. But he's lying, all right? Graham Plattner moaning and groaning about his military service. Cut 13. Hmm. 1-3.
Out of the Army in 2012, where I came out of the infantry in a time where we just didn't really talk about the fact that we were all suffering. You know, it was this whole idea that we were just going to be tough and get through it. And it was not an effective solution.
Well, unfortunately, PTSD became very, very fashionable. All the way back in the 80s, they started talking about it. You know, all the guys back from Nam and flashbacks and that old fake story, right? It became I don't know why we started to romanticize this whole notion of a traumatized veteran waking up at night with flashbacks from Vietnam, which is not a thing. And that's not even what a flashback is. I felt like I was in Vietnam. I felt like I was in Iraq. So you heard, did you catch what he said there? He got out of the military in 2012.
And talking about our feelings and PTSD, that wasn't a thing.
Oh, we didn't know. We just had to tough it out. Tough it out. Well, I looked up 2012, and you know what was happening in the military in 2012? It was like PTSD all day, every day. PTSD seminars, PTSD awareness day, PTSD self-help day, PTSD come see the counselors day, PTSD, all over the place. They wouldn't shut up about it. You know, you talk about something enough, you will make it a thing. People who didn't have it kind of wanted it. Hey, man, maybe I'm missing out on benefits. I told you about that story. I went to a veteran event, and I'm walking around, and you see some pretty banged up veterans. And I see this one person who I think works there. And I'm like, oh, what brings you here? Oh, I'm a wounded veteran. And I kind of gave her a once-over. You look great. And we talked for a little bit. And I said, so how are you wounded? I said, I have PTSD. Oh. You know, this whole thing, like we have to eradicate the stigma around mental illness. I don't know if that's true, actually. I think we should actually, we've destigmatized everything. We've gone overboard with that. You got to bring back a little bit of shame, a little bit of maybe I should try harder, a little bit of maybe I should be tougher. And it's not really on the individual. It's on a lot of these, institutions and groups. And, oh, you too are a failure. You too are a victim. Join us. Join and enjoy the warm bath of victimhood. No responsibility, a few freebies. Just chillax. Here's some medical marijuana. Let's go on a free trip. Anyway, I had to ask, okay, PTSD. Maybe she was involved in, I don't know, B-52 carpet bombing. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Was she on the Bin Laden raid and in that helicopter crash? What the hell happened to you? I never told me what happened to her, but whatever it was happened in South Korea. South Korea. Now, we haven't had a war there since 1950, and she was about 30 years old, and this was a few years ago. She was born probably, I'd say, in 1985. So, no, that couldn't have been it. We become it's just too many avenues to the sick, lame, and lazy. You, too, can be sick, lame, and lazy. So that was a big lie that he just said there. Oh, it was but listen to Mika Brzezinski. Can we say it out loud right now? Never mind. But the way she moved in on that man who was married to somebody else, and everybody could see it, I think that was terrible. And I think she totally screwed over that totally nice guy reporter she worked with at Channel 7 and got married to, and children and the rest. If you're really working, your life is too busy to have an affair. All right? Even if you want to. How are you going to make the arrangements? How do you actually do that, especially if you have young kids at home? You got to be a very neglectful person sometimes. I mean, look, anything can happen. Anything can happen. And even good people can screw up. I know that, but I don't know. She gets under my skin, especially when she says something like this after Graham Plattner lies all over the place. Cut 14, please. This is Mika on the morning show with her new husband, Joe. Cut 14.
I also think that a lot of families who have struggled with their tours of duty in the years after can really appreciate what you're sharing, and also showing that therapy is not a weakness. Therapy is building strength, and I can appreciate all of that.
Yeah, huh? You think? All this therapy? You think the Chinese military has a lot of therapy? The Russians? Who else are we going to be up against in the next war? ISIS, did they have a lot of therapy sessions? No. Did they have a lot of guys like Graham Plattner walking around? Probably not. Cut 12, if you don't mind. Cut 12.
Because of my military service, and I did 4 tours in the infantry. I fought in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I saw up close the human cost of war. War to me is not something to be viewed as a game. It's not something to be viewed as a power play. It's something to be viewed as the single last resort for anything, because I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels like. And I know the struggles that come afterwards.
Well, he says war is not a power play. Well, that's a power play right there, what he just did. I know what it feels like. I know what it smells like. You know, we got to kind of set the record straight about some of this quote-unquote war in Afghanistan and Iraq. All right? Now, I was there for major combat operations in 2003. I also went on subsequent trips to that country after the invasion, and I went to Afghanistan myself. And I have to tell you, it depends on where you were and what you were doing. It depends a lot on that. I took a picture off the internet yesterday of forward base Hammer. Sounds pretty intense, right? Forward base Hammer. Forward operating base Hammer. Yikes. What do they do at Hammer? Well, the mission, sir, is to root out the insurgency and the counterinsurgency. And what we're looking at here is a PSYOP operation that will conduct and win the hearts and minds and all this stuff. And meanwhile, what is it? It's a great big boondoggle. All right? There's a great big warehouse up there full of stuff for the troops, full of candy, cake, ice cream, pastries, movie night, massage night, whirlpool night, right? We totally overdid it with the goods and services. You know, you can never do enough for the troops, but at the same time, you can do too much for the troops. And that's a lazy, entitled bastard of a troop right there. I know what it was like. Then you have to listen to me. And you know what that does? That shuts up everybody in the room. Because, well, oh boy, he's been there. I don't know, at the respective service. You can't. Nope. This is a trick played by Republicans and Democrats alike, and it's been damn near perfected. Take some schmuck with with some sort of military or law enforcement credential, have him sell your political message, and right off the bat, it neutralizes a good chunk of the opposition. Why? Because even a trooper who's as wildly traitorous, mutinous, political as that guy, right? It shuts down the opposition. They give him too much space. Because even when they're wrong, veteran status, I can't say anything. No, it's your duty to say something. I'll be right back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Roger Stone here. Your dollars are losing ground, but gold isn't. American Sovereign Bullion helps you protect your wealth through real, tangible assets. Through their nationwide wholesaler network, you get some of the best pricing on gold and silver delivered straight to your door. Since 1912, the U.S. dollar has lost 97% of its purchasing power. Meanwhile, gold continues to prove its strength. So call 844-272-2428. That's 844-272-2428. Or visit dyingdollar.com to request your free gold and silver guide. That's dyingdollar.com.
Greg Kelly.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Well, hello, 800-848-9222, 800-848-9222. It looks like we're going to be in for another war tonight, all right? There's going to be more bombs and stuff like that, more Tomahawk missiles. We're getting closer and closer, but you never know. You never know. I can tell you this. The country is not on the edge of their seat about any of this. You know, the war in Iraq, the invasion, right? The first couple of everybody, 24/7, right? All the coverage. This thing, it's background noise at best. People are oblivious to it. No one is talking about it. No one. Now, that doesn't mean it's not strategically important or anything like that. People don't talk about a lot of things that are important, and that's fine. Yes, Michelle. Hi, what's up? Is she there?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can. Hi.
Hello?
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, hi. Hi. I just was a little upset with your comment about destigmatizing mental illness, because I think that we need to do that. We have people in this country.
No, we got to do the opposite. We have to do the opposite.
But Frank, you just hear me out for 1 second, because here's what I noticed. You have people with problems like homelessness and crime and drug addiction who are not being properly diagnosed with a mental illness. And if they would just
hold on a second, Michelle, don't go away. All right, I got a hard break, as Mark Levin would say, a hard break. We'll be right back with your call, I promise.
Greg Kelly
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
How much money did Act Blue accept from Russia?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer the question pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights under the Constitution.
Busted. Hey, there's a time and place to invoke the Fifth Amendment. I love our Constitution, the Fifth Amendment. It's very seldom dropped in a congressional hearing. The problem with that lady who runs Act Blue, which is a great big Democrat radical fundraising operation, they do give money to radicals. They do give money. Well, let's face it, the Democrat Party in general is radical. In general, they are radical. They're supporting a Nazi. They believe in no borders. They want to sexualize children. This is crazy, crazy stuff. The Democrat Party is a socialist, demented, wrong party about everything. They are radical. They are dangerous. Now, it's legal to be radical and weird. You know, you're allowed to do it. And you're allowed to raise money. But it looks like a lot of that money was coming from countries far away. Countries that want to do harm to this country. And how do you harm it? Well, you could do it the old-fashioned way, but that's very hard, right? An army, a navy coming at us, America. Good luck with that. Not going to work. Then you could resort to terrorism, suicide bombers. That's lethal, but we're pretty good at stopping that as well. What are your other options? From within. Maybe you could turn the people who live there against the very country itself, right? That's where this money comes in. That's where Act Blue comes in. And there's not really any worthy country in the world where the people who live there are so opposed to their government as what we have going right here in America. And that's really something to think about. The way Joe Biden would tell horrible ghost stories about this country, how bad we were, how much we had to atone for, the original sin of slavery and all that stuff. You know, General Xi doesn't do that in China. Putin didn't do that, doesn't do that. And the guy who came before him doesn't do that. Whether you're a bad country or a good country, generally speaking, the leaders of countries try to put the best foot forward. We've all made mistakes. No country's perfect. Is what's her name there from line one? Michelle, is she still there? Hello, hi. What were you were disagreeing about something. It's okay if you weren't. Oh, shoot, we lost Michelle. Look, Michelle, I know where you're coming from. I do believe that we need a little bit of shame and a little bit of stigma back in American life. All right, I do. I'm sorry. And PTSD has become a virtue. Having it is a beautiful thing. Oh, my goodness gracious. Step right up. Let us give you counseling, benefits, drugs. Let's put you on this. Let's put you on that. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's give you a dog. Let's give you a cat. Let's give you video games. Let's give you a vacation. What are we going to do on that vacation? Let's throw back some beers. How about some more beers? It's a vicious, nasty little cycle. It's turned into a great big scam. A great big scam. Why is there this aggressive push to destigmatize mental illness, by the way? I mean, like, I don't care if you stigmatize it or don't stigmatize it. What's happened is you've glorified it. You've glorified it. Do we glorify lung cancer? Somebody who comes in and has lung cancer, right? No, did you smoke? Yeah. Well, dummy, right? We don't, right? There's still some stigma, right? I mean, a little bit. If you smoked, I mean, we don't want you to die, but yeah. I mean, people choose. They make choices. And I'll remind everybody that Graham Plattner chose to join the military. And I had to look it up. Somebody told me he went right to Iraq after high school. I said, number one, that's impossible. No, the next month he was in Iraq. Well, first you got to go through something called basic training. And when did he graduate high school? Okay, June 2003. There ain't no way that guy, just looking at him, went right to boot camp. You know how the Army gets you, how the recruiters get you. They give you all kinds of options. Oh, you don't have to go to boot camp until in 2 years. Take the summer off. Do this, do that. Here's more money. They kind of bribe you a little bit, and they lull you into... And then he comes back sounding like this, and we're supposed to listen? And the problem is a lot of people do listen. People who should know better. In my opinion. Where is she again? Why are we listening to this guy? Cut 12.
Because of my military service, and I did 4 tours in the infantry. I fought in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I saw up close the human cost of war. War to me is not something to be viewed as a game. It's not something to be viewed as a power play. It's something to be viewed as the single last resort for anything. Because I know what it looks like. I know what it smells like. I know what it feels like. And I know the struggles that come afterwards.
So we're going to shut up and listen to guys like this. Nope. This is the game that John Kerry played. Pete Buttigieg, Seth Moulton. This is his ticket to political stardom. He's a bum. President Trump is not wrong. I heard him tell his life story. It ain't much of one. I do remember admiring the idea of a U.S. senator, right? That's something special. That's a big deal. You gotta work hard to get there. And then what do? Well, I guess I shouldn't have been too dazzled by those resumes because they sold us out. NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, it comes up every now and then. And President Trump is kind of obsessed with it because it totally screwed over the American working man. And we're still living with the consequences. This is President Trump this week in the Oval Office on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, or as I call it, the no advantage for true American something or other. Wait, NAFTA. No advantage for American workers. Nope, that doesn't work either. I'll have it by the time we get back, though. Cut 15.
Are you all in supporting Susan Collins? Does she have your full support and endorsement in her Senate
She does
re-election?
because she's a sane woman. She's not my best friend at all. These guys are. I get along well, but I have some. But she's a sane person. And she's a person that never missed a vote in many years. I mean, she's had 10,000 votes. She had 10,000 votes. She never missed a vote. Unfortunately, because sometimes she voted against me. Look, she's a sane woman, and she's a respected person.
And that's all we're looking for these days, really. So many insane people. Hey, you're sane, you're not crazy, you don't hate America, you're in. All right, here he is on NAFTA, the North American Free Trade Agreement, also known as the No Advantage for True American Treaty, cut 17.
NAFTA was a disaster for our country. The worst trade deal ever made, by far. They had typos in, okay? And they were supposed to correct them. And they never corrected them when they were signed. They knew there were typos.
Yeah, there are typos in there. And I had to look back, 1993. You know who was for NAFTA? Everybody. And by everybody, I mean the swamp, all the stylish people. Democrats, Republicans. It was bizarre. I forgot about this thing. And the guy who hated it was Ross Perot, the progenitor, in a way, if you will, of politics for President Trump. Right? They're very, very much on the same page here. Here's Al Gore at the signing ceremony for NAFTA in 1993. Cut 18.
And may I single out the debt our nation owes to President Bush, President Carter, President Reagan, President Ford, and President Nixon for their unprecedented support of the NAFTA treaty. It marked a real turning point.
A real turning point. All the factories left. What did the American men do? So many of them. Nixon, Carter, Ford, Reagan, Bush. And there's Al Gore and Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton signed the damn thing. That is the swamp. That is the establishment. They gutted America. I think they should investigate that all over again. How do they get that kind of bipartisan support? That's a little bit over the top. I want to go back to my friend, Douglas Murray, because this madness of crowds, like what we saw last night, you got to be careful of the crowds, whether they're in the street or whether they're online, because 9 times out of 10, the mob is wrong. All right? The mob is wrong. And quite frankly, this Epstein crap, they're wrong about that too. You haven't been told the real story. And I know we all want to believe that we can help save kids. Nothing more intoxicating than being a hero. But what if there were no kids to rescue? Here is survivor number 16. She is a person who goes around making money, I believe, off of her story about surviving Jeffrey Epstein. And she's compelling when she speaks. Cut 21, please. Lisa Phillips is her name.
I stand here today for every woman who has been silenced, exploited, and dismissed. We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability, and I'm demanding justice.
Wow.
Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors.
Oh my gosh, that sounds amazing, doesn't it? That sounds amazing. There's a bit of a problem, though. She met Jeffrey Epstein when she was 21 years old. 21. That's not a child. I'm sorry. And these women who have come forward were adults when they were with Jeffrey Epstein. And I know that, you know what that undermines? The narrative. That narrative, that stupid word, narrative. Oh, let me tell you a story, a narrative. Fancy word for story. And a story has to have a good guy, a bad guy, a struggle, a climax, all these things that you need for a story. But sometimes just a bunch of weird stuff happens and nobody can make sense of it. Or you can try, but you could be wrong. And I'm telling you, when it comes to this Epstein stuff, everybody is freaking wrong about it. Trump is the one who has it figured out. Cut 19.
And you'll have Schumer. He goes crazy over this or that, or Epstein. This guy. Why are they talking about him? He said, well, we don't know.
We don't know. But they're hooked because, you know what? It's a crowd pleaser online. And that means it's a way to make money, fundraise off it. You can fundraise off it. And there's a little lie that's told about President Trump and all of this, that he campaigned off of the Epstein, right? He ran on Epstein. He ran on Epstein. He didn't. I've watched every single rally from when he came down the escalator to the one he had in Wisconsin last week. I've seen every single one. He has never brought up Epstein, ever. What happened during the campaign was occasionally he would be asked in an interview, would you release the Epstein files? Yeah, if they said it was appropriate, I would do that. I have no problem with that. But he does have a problem with names being released and people rushing to judgment. You know, my name is in the Epstein file. It is. I'm actually bragging in a weird way. I'm in the Epstein file. I am in the Epstein file. Here, all right, now everybody's giving me a dirty look and weird. Like, what the hell is going on with you? Every email ever sent, right? Everybody is in that Epstein file. So one night, his publicist, because she's always arranging social things and, hey, you should go to this party, you should go to that party. His publicist, a woman by the name of Peggy Siegel, said, hi, Jeffrey, there's a movie screening tonight about a war correspondent played by Rose McGowan. It's a very good movie, and I think you would like it. It stars, who was the other star in that dumb thing? I didn't really like that movie. The movie who played Ben Affleck's wife in Gone Girl, whatever her name was. She was the main character in the movie, not Rose McGowan. And she said, Greg Kelly is from Channel 5 is going to MC the event. And he wrote back, I can't go. So I am in the Epstein file. I'm also in the Epstein file because the FBI, rather suspiciously, makes up a huge news summary every single day. They produce a 400-page news summary. Every single article, essentially, that has anything to do with politics or anything to do with what the FBI, they shouldn't be interested in this stuff, is in there. And I interviewed Rick Grinnell. And there was a summary of my interview with Rick Grinnell, who at the time I think was the director of national intelligence. Why would that be in the damn thing? I don't know. It's the FBI. It's almost like it's a surveillance state kind of a situation. Trump administration privately telling allies it still plans payouts to loyalists. I love it. The Atlantic magazine is apparently has this tip here that the weaponization fund is not going away. Isn't that a great thing? You know, I've been pushing it for it from day one. 800-848-9222. Your calls when we come back.
Greg Kelly.
Let's go, Brandon.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Greg Kelly, entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, we are back. And Frank, hi.
Hey, Greg, I just wanted to, since you're talking about these psychotic Democrats, I don't know if you heard what's going on up in Albany. This crazy Hochul regime here, they're trying to rewrite the English dictionary. They want to get rid of words like mother and father on official documents, and they want to rename them gestating parent and non-gestating parent.
I know about this, but let me ask you. I know that this was. Did they actually? So my understanding was this was in a draft form. This was like a bill that was being drafted, and they were changing certain things. But I also understand that it hasn't been signed yet. What do you know about that? Do you know?
Yes, it's not. It has not been put into law yet. But the fact that they're crazy enough to talk about this,
I guess what I want to do is I'm going to just wait until they sign the damn thing. You know what I mean? Because you know what? I can't be provoked into rage and I want to see what I'm reacting to before I react to it. And that's what I'm waiting for on that. Okay. I mean, I'm with you. It's totally insane. I'm wondering if she's really going to pull the trigger on that. And there's a little bit about this story that I'm somewhat suspicious of. But the practice of getting rid of mother and father is obviously an abomination. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, Jean. Hello. Is she there?
I only know now about a program I hear on your radio program, WABC, called Canines for Warriors. But many years ago, I went to the New York Public Library in New York, and I heard a veteran who looked very normal. His name was Lieutenant Louis, Luis. I forget what the last name was, but it began with a C. He did a program at the library, and he had an autobiography called Until Tuesday. And Tuesday was the name of his therapy dog. And when he spoke to us at the library, he was up at the rostrum, and while he was speaking, the dog that had been sitting by his side quietly went up and stood by Louis and sat down quietly. She didn't make any sound at all. And Louis just reached down and petted her right ear. And he was able to continue talking to us. And after he finished his speech, we applauded him. And I asked him if the dog liked New York City. And he said the dog did, but that the taxis didn't really like to take her into the cab because they didn't think of her as a therapy dog. And I learned later, after I bought the book, that Louis actually had committed suicide. And I felt so badly about his dog Tuesday, what would happen to her. And then I read in the New York Post a really short article, and it had been headlined Tuesday. And
all right, so what happened to the dog? I got to go.
Yeah, but Tusi had been adopted by somebody.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Listen, the therapy dog thing, I like it, but it's gotten a little bit crazy. All right? And we just we're treating these guys like they're handicapped, and they're not. Too many of them. And have you been on an airplane lately with the therapy dogs? Everybody has a therapy dog. It's getting a little bit much. We need to toughen up, including you, Gene. Don't fall for it. All right? Come on, this is America. We're not a bunch of wimps.
Thanks for listening to The Greg Kelly Show. You can hear The Greg Kelly Show weekdays at 12:15 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
One summer moment can change a child's life. Through Toys for Tots Give and Go initiative, your support provides books, games, toys, and outdoor adventures that spark curiosity, creativity, and a love of nature. Whether it's fishing, learning a new sport, reading under a tree, or playing with friends, these moments build confidence and lifelong memories. For too many children, those moments never come. You can help change that this summer. Visit toysfortots.org. Toys for Tots, delivering hope beyond the holidays.